Thank you very much indeed, Madam Chairman. The Government has delivered an unparalleled package of support during the COVID-19 pandemic, providing over £352 billion for public services, workers and businesses. This response has been fair and balanced, with the poorest households benefiting the most from the Government's interventions. It is now necessary to take steps to ensure the sustainability of the public finances and continue to fund our excellent public services. Our approach to fixing the public finances will therefore also be fair and balanced. The fairest way to put the public finances on a more sustainable footing is to ask all taxpayers to play their part, as well as asking those people able to contribute more to do so. That is why in these parts of the bill, the Government is legislating for freezes to the personal allowance and higher rate thresholds, the inheritance tax thresholds, the pensions lifetime allowance and the annual exempt amount in capital gains tax. The Government is also making sensible changes to the tax treatment of coronavirus support payments and exemption-related adjustments to account for the impact of the pandemic. Madam Chairman, given the number of speakers and amendments, I will try to keep my remarks relatively brief. Before I turn to the changes announced at budget, let me touch on clauses 1 to 4. These are legislated for every year and are essential for the Government to be able to collect the right amount of income tax for the tax year 2021 to 22. I come now to the clauses which legislate to maintain thresholds. These clauses are a central part of a fair and responsible fiscal approach to fixing the public finances. Clause 5 maintains the income tax personal allowance and the basic rate limit at their 2021-22 levels from April 2022 until April 2026. This is a universal, progressive and fair measure being taken to fund public services and rebuild the public finances and ensures that the highest earning households will contribute more. Indeed, the 20% highest income households will contribute 15 times that of the 20% lowest income households. Madam Chair, if I may now respond to Amendments 2 to 4 and new Clause 7, which relate to the clause I've just outlined. Amendments 2, 3 and 4 seek to delay the decision to maintain the income tax personal allowance and higher rate threshold until April 2023. The OBR forecasts that UK GDP will reach its pre-virus peak by the second quarter of 2022. The Bank of England forecasts that this will happen at the beginning of 2022. In light of these estimates, it is reasonable and fair for the Government to uphold the start of this policy from April 2022. Let me say that nobody's take-home pay will be less as a result of this decision. For most taxpayers, any real terms loss will be very small in 2022-23, and I would therefore urge my honourable friend not to put these amendments to a vote. Madam Chair, new clauses 12 and 23 would require the Government to publish equalities impact assessments for all the measures in this debate, and new clause 8 would require the Government to publish an equalities assessment of existing income tax thresholds. New clause 8 would also require the Government to publish distributional analysis on two changes that do not constitute government policy, namely reducing the additional rate threshold to £80,000 and introducing a supplementary 50% rate of income tax for income above £125,000. Madam Chairman, the Treasury carefully considers the equality impacts of the individual measures announced at fiscal events on those that share protected characteristics, in line both with its legal obligations under the public sector equality duty and with its strong commitment to issues of equality. The Treasury already publishes comprehensive assessments of income tax threshold changes. Alongside budget, the Government has published detailed distributional analysis of the decision to maintain income tax thresholds both at a household and on an individual basis. Therefore, these new clauses do little to provide meaningful additional analysis further to the Government's existing comprehensive publications, and I therefore urge my honourable friend not to put his amendment to a vote. Clause 28 makes changes to maintain the pensions lifetime allowance at £1,073,100 until April 2026. This will limit the pensions tax relief available to those with the largest pension pots and supports the Government's objective of a system of pensions tax relief that is fair, affordable and sustainable. Clause Clause 40 maintains the capital gains tax annual exempt amount at its 2020-21 level of £12,300 for individuals and personal representatives and £6,150 for most trustees of settlements for the tax years 2021-2 up to and including 2025-26. Maintaining the annual exempt amount at its 2021 level is a 2020-2021 level is a responsible decision and consistent with the decisions the government has taken to maintain the value of the other main allowances over the same period. Madam Speaker, Clause 86 maintains inheritance tax thresholds at their 2020-21 levels until April 2026. This means that the nil rate band will remain at £325,000 and the residence nil rate band will remain at £175,000. The tapering of the residence nil rate band will continue to start when the net value of an estate is more than £2 million. Maintaining these thresholds is forecast to contribute almost £1 billion over the next 5 years to help to rebuild the public finances. But this approach still ensures that over 94% of estates will not be liable for inheritance tax in each of the next 5 years. Taken together, this government's approach to thresholds across the tax system is clear evidence of a fair and consistent fiscal strategy to repair the public finances while continuing to invest in public services. If I may, I move next to clauses 24 to 26, which make minor adjustments to exemptions to account for the impact the coronavirus pandemic has had on businesses and workers. Let me also address one amendment relating to clauses 25 and 26. Madam Chair, new clause 11 would commission a review of the changes relating to the employer-provided cycles exemption. I'm happy to reassure the House that the terms of the employer-provided cycle exemption have not changed, and only a minor time-limited easement is introduced by this bill. It is not, therefore, necessary to review the changes. Madam Chair, clauses 31 to 33 relate to the government's package of support payments for individuals and businesses during the pandemic. Clause 31 makes changes to ensure that the one-off £500 payment to eligible working tax credit claimants announced at Budget 2021 is not subject to income tax. This will ensure that recipients of the tax credit benefit in full, and that the payment meets its objective of providing additional support to low-income working households. I'm happy to give it.
Minister, for giving way. Minister, have you had any discussions with the Low Income Tax Reform Group, who have indicated to me some of their concerns about HMRC required claims from individuals? It's a rather delicate matter, but there is a problem there. Has the Minister had an opportunity to actually discuss with them? Thank you.
Well, the Honourable Gentleman will be pleased to know that I maintain a strong dialogue through officials and from time to time in person with the Low Incomes Tax Reform Group, and I've no doubt that the input that they've given has been carefully considered by officials in this regard. If he would care to write to me with a specific concern he's got, I'm happy to pick that up as well. Madam Chair, it is right that HMRC have powers to tackle fraud and abuse of the self-employment income support scheme. It is also right that we, as a government, provide legal clarity that self-employment income support scheme grants are liable for income tax in the year of receipt. Madam Deputy Speaker, clauses 31 to 32 will allow payments made in support of individuals and businesses by the government to meet their objectives as far as possible. Opposition amendments 15 and 92 are already comprehensively addressed by existing policy, and I would ask that they be withdrawn. Madam Chair, clause 33 makes changes to ensure that the repayments of business rates relief are deductible for corporation tax and income tax purposes. This ensures that any repayments of support are dealt with appropriately. Taken together, these measures will help the government to continue to support individuals and businesses through the coronavirus pandemic. They will also begin to put the public finances on a sustainable footing as we continue to move out of the pandemic. And I therefore move that clauses 1 to 5, 24 to 26, 28, 31 to 33, 40 and 86 stand part of the bill.